So happy that you're here. Welcome to A Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. Ladies and gentlemen, it's day 11 of Derek Chauvin's trial for the murder of George Floyd. And sadly, we're back where we started. Because yesterday, just a few miles from the Minneapolis courthouse, another black man was killed by police. In this case, it's 20-year-old Daunte Wright, who was shot in the Minneapolis suburb of Brooklyn Center during a routine traffic stop. After pulling right over, the cops determined that he had a warrant out for his arrest. And then, as the police tried to detain him, he stepped back into his car, at which point an officer shot him. Angry citizens protested all last night in front of the police station. And those protests are not likely to get any smaller after they learned that the police's official explanation for the shooting was the officer accidentally drew her handgun instead of her taser. It's dangerous when a policeman can't tell if you're holding a gun. It's insane when they can't tell if they're holding a gun. Now you might think, hey, just don't try to flee and nothing bad will happen to you. And you would think wrong. Because, case in point, this weekend, footage emerged from an incident last December when police pulled over Army Lieutenant Caron Nazario, pepper sprayed him, and held him at gunpoint. Throughout the incident, Nazario was calm and polite. But all this was met with hostility and aggression, like in this moment.
You received an order. Obey it.
I'm honestly afraid to get out. Can I?
Yeah, you should be.
What a strange way to say thank you for your service. Police tried to pull over Lieutenant Nazario because they didn't see the temporary plates on his new SUV. And because it was a dark stretch of highway, the lieutenant slowed down, put on his blinker, and about a mile down the road, pulled over at a well-lit BP gas station. The police chose to treat it as a high-risk traffic stop. Like all dangerous criminals, he lured them to a brightly lit public gas station. He could have gotten his hands on corn nuts and scratch-offs. By the way, in the body cam footage, the temporary plates were visible. So maybe instead of giving police departments enough funding for tanks, they should get enough funding for reading glasses. They're like $5 at a BP station. This all went down December 5th. But the footage didn't come out till now because Nazario has filed a lawsuit in federal court accusing the officers of illegal search, use of excessive force, and threatening to destroy his military career by charging him with multiple crimes if he complained about their conduct. Well, that's the Windsor Police motto, protect and forget about it. Now, after the video surfaced, the town fired the officer involved, but there's no guarantee what would have happened without this viral video and million-dollar lawsuit. So where does progress stand today? For more, we turn now to Late Show resident American historian, Professor John Thibodeaux. John, thank you for being here. Listen, I knew you were one of my writers. I just didn't know you were an historian. What are your credentials?
I exist in American history, Steve.
Fair enough. John, in light of the last year of activism, not only in the United States, but around the world, I thought things were getting better.
You thought wrong.
Why did I think that?
Because you're white.
That's what I thought. By the way, I got to say, I really like this professorial look.
Thank you. I call it my don't pull me over drag.
Oh, really? Is this the best thing to wear to not get pulled over?
Yes, I used to think the best thing to wear was an army uniform, but I thought wrong.
John Thibodeaux, everybody. Well, the story that keeps on giving has given us more because there's fresh news about Florida Congressman and bobblehead of Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz. Last week, Gaetz was in hot water for alleged sex trafficking, paying for sex, and having sex with an underage girl sex. And brace yourselves, they've got the receipts. And I will grease you with some gross goss in the latest in our recurring segment, Gaetzgate.
I'll buy 12 boxes of Thin Mints if you're willing to tag along in do-si-do.
On Thursday, we heard that Gaetz might get flipped on by his partner in crime, former Florida tax collector and realtor who's a little too excited to let you know they shot a porno in this apartment, Joel Greenberg. Greenberg is accused of procuring for Gaetz some pay for sex. He's a pimp. Late Thursday, we learned of a transaction involving Gates, Greenberg, and a then 18-year-old woman made on Venmo. You're doing crimes on an app? How dumb are these guys? It's like organizing a hit on Words with Friends. In May 2018, 2 Venmo transactions on the same night show that Gates sent Greenberg $900. Well, the next morning, Greenberg used the same app to send 3 young women varying sums of money, which amounted to $900. Okay, I know that seems incredibly stupid and incriminating. And it gets dumber because Gates labeled one of the transactions with the memo, hit up blank, but instead of blank, Gates wrote a nickname for one of the recipients. That is literally the dumbest thing he could have done. He could have written anything else. I'm guessing there's a folder on his laptop labeled, the porn folder of Matt Gates. Wait, no, I mean taxes. But don't worry, Greenberg has an airtight cover because when he paid the 3 women, he wrote that the cash was for tuition, school, and school. Nothing underagey about that. It really makes you sound creepy, guilty, and guilty. And the icing on this stupid, stupid cake, at the time, all these interactions could be viewed on Gates's public Venmo page. He gave investigators the paper trail. It's all in the new movie, Catch Me If You... And you caught me. This weekend, Gates did what any scandal-plagued politician would do, give a big public speech. He traveled down to the former president's Doral Resort in Florida to speak at an event organized by Women for America First. Yes, Matt Gates spoke to a group of women. The subject of that speech, anyone need a ride home from band practice? During the speech, Gates described himself as a champion of women. Yes, he's a champion of women, but he thinks it's like golf. The lower the number, the better. Because it was a speech to women. Gates quoted one.
I take the words of Margaret Thatcher to heart. If you want something said, get a man. If you want something done, hire a woman.
Matt, I'm pretty sure hiring a woman is what you're in trouble for. Gates emphasized that no matter how much damning evidence he personally provides authorities, he's not going anywhere.
So let me assure you, I have not yet begun to fight. For the country I love and for the nation that I know benefits from America First principles.
I have not yet begun to fight for the country I love may not be the best thing to say if you've held public office for 10 years. I've worked at this Subway for 10 years, and let me assure you, I have not yet begun to make a sandwich. He even took time to thank people who stood by him.
This past week has been full of encouragement. From President Trump, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Jim Jordan, to the MAGA nation that shares so much love.
Not exactly faultless character witnesses. Your Honor, to defend my client, I call to the stand a serial sexual assaulter, a man accused of covering up sexual abuse, and a lady who believes wildfires are caused by Yiddish photon torpedoes. There was one other person Gates wanted to shout out.
Thank you to my amazing fiancée, Ginger. I love you with all my heart, and I can assure you the best is indeed yet to come.
I agree, the best is yet to come because we still haven't seen the indictments. Side note, this is Gates' fiancée, whose actual name is Ginger Lucky, which is ironic since she's a blonde and engaged to Matt Gates. Gates wasn't the only disgraced Republican at a Florida golf resort this weekend because the former president himself gave a speech at Mar-a-Lago in which he went after Mitch McConnell, calling him a dumb son of a bitch and a stone-cold loser. Oh, you don't want Mitch's stone to be cold. You really want to put a basking lamp in his tank. The reviews of the speech were not kind. As one attendee put it, it was horrible, it was long, and negative, adding, and this time we didn't like it. Of course, the former president is probably just happy anyone's talking about him, according to the Washington Post. Google search results for his name are at their lowest point since 2015. And most of those are just Eric asking the computer if Daddy loves him. The AP wrote an article on the former POTUS's waning influence, and they noted that on late-night TV, some have tried to scrub him out entirely, with Late Show host Stephen Colbert refusing to say his name. Okay, you got me. Guilty as noticed. But for the record, I'm not trying to scrub him out. It's just that legend has it, now that he's out of office, if you say his name 3 times, he appears in your bathroom mirror and then uses your toilet while complaining that it's low flush. So, after the whole January 6th thing, no, even before that, it was after November 6th when he did that whole I won thing, I plan not to say the guy's name again. I think I've paid my dues in that regard. But now that the buzzkills over at the AP have mentioned it, it's no fun anymore. Besides, it's really hard coming up with synonyms for this douche nozzle's name. Have we used douche nozzle? I don't think so. You don't have used douche nozzle? Well, now I use douche nozzle. Now I can't use douche nozzle. Usually I call him the former president, but that gives him dignity and me flashbacks. I've also calling him 45 because he's the 45th president, but now he's rebranding himself as 45. He's even got a website, 45office.com, that features pictures of his presidency, including one where he salutes what appears to be members of the Wiggles. But is, in fact, I am informed, what they wear on aircraft carriers because they're so far out to sea that no one's there to laugh at them? This is a silly outfit. Colored turtleneck sweaters. Thank you for your service. Also, I'm looking for a reliable substitute for his name. Maybe I should just call him, Melania's husband or Jeff Epstein's dance partner or something really insulting like Don Jr.'s father. But I have to call him something. Hopefully someday the defendant. But until then, this is where you come in. What should I call the old president when there's a story about him? Tweet them to @ColbertLateShow with the hashtag #HeWhoShallBeNamed. I will say the most original and appropriate names on the air up to a point. It's CBS. They're not going to let me call him a piece of Believe me, I know. We've got a great show for you tonight. My guest is former Speaker of the House John Boehner, who's got a new book. When we come back, John Boehner.